6 months after I cut off my family for betraying me, my former fiancée showed up at my door, pregnant, saying the baby was mine. So I asked for a DNA test and burned every bridge that was still standing. I need to tell you what happened last week, but you cannot understand it unless you know what happened during the 6 months before it. 6 months ago, I left my parents' house on Christmas Day and never went back. No big speech. No shouting. No door slam. I just stood up in the middle of dinner, walked out, got in my car, and drove away. By the time they realized I was not coming back, I had already blocked every number. You wanna know why? Fine. 3 days before Christmas, I came home early from work. My company gave us half days that week, so I thought I would do something nice. I figured I would surprise Iris with lunch. Iris was my fiancée. We had been together for 2 years. We had been planning our wedding for months. Venue booked. Invitations ordered. All the usual stuff. I walked into our bedroom and found my younger brother Preston in bed with her. Not drunk. Not a party. Not an accident. It was a weekday afternoon. They were sober. They knew what they were doing. It was in my bed, in my home, with the person I was about to marry. The worst part is not even what I saw. It was the look on their faces. It was not shame. It was not panic. It was annoyance, like I had interrupted something they felt entitled to. I did not scream. I did not punch anyone. I did not break anything. I just stood there for maybe 10 seconds, like my brain needed time to accept what my eyes were seeing. Then I turned around, walked out, grabbed my laptop and my keys, and left everything else. I heard Iris calling after me, scrambling for clothes, but I was already moving. I got in my car and drove straight to a hotel. I stayed there for 2 days. I did not answer calls. I did not answer texts. I did not explain anything to anyone. I kept thinking maybe my family would support me when they found out. I kept thinking surely they would see what happened and understand. But by the time Christmas arrived, everyone already knew. Iris told Preston. Preston told my parents. My parents called me and said we still needed to do Christmas as a family. They said whatever happened between Iris and me was separate from family obligations. They said it was Christmas and I needed to show up. I should have understood right then what their position was. But I went anyway. I was still hoping they would look at me, hear the truth, and say we are with you. I walked into their house and immediately felt like the outsider. Preston was there, sitting at the table like nothing happened. My mother had cooked his favorite dish. My father greeted him warmly, like he was the one who needed comfort. My sisters were talking to him about his job, laughing, acting normal. Iris was not there, at least. That was the only mercy I got. I lasted about 40 minutes. I made it through the appetizers. I forced myself to breathe. I tried to be calm. Then my mother casually brought up the wedding. She asked if we had worked things out yet. She said it like Iris had forgotten to pay a bill, like it was a small inconvenience that would be fixed if I just tried harder. I said no. I said we were done. My father sighed and put his fork down. He asked if I was really going to throw away 2 years over one mistake. One mistake. I stared at him, then at Preston. Preston would not meet my eyes. I asked if he truly thought that was a mistake. My mother jumped in and said Preston was going through a rough time. She said he did not mean for it to happen. I laughed. I actually laughed because the words were so ridiculous I did not know what else to do. I repeated it back to her, slowly, so she could hear herself. He did not mean to sleep with my fiancée in my bed. My older sister snapped at me and said I did not have to be crude. She said we were trying to have a nice dinner. My younger sister added that I was making everything about me. I looked at her like she had lost her mind. Making what about me? She said the holidays. She said family time. She said I was ruining it by being angry. That was the moment something in me shut down. I stood up, grabbed my coat, and headed for the door. My father tried to use a calm voice. He told me to sit down and talk like adults. I told him we were not talking about anything. I told him they had already chosen a side. Preston finally spoke and told me not to be like this. I looked at him, really looked at him. My little brother. The kid I helped with homework. The one I loaned money to. The one I covered for when he messed up in school. And there he was, sitting comfortably at my parents' table, being defended while my life was being treated like a minor inconvenience. So I left. That night, I blocked all of them. I returned the engagement ring to Iris through a courier. I moved out of our apartment within a week. I found a smaller place across town. Month to month. I paid my landlord 2 months in cash and told him I wanted no complications. I told my boss I needed to work remotely for a while. He did not ask questions. He just said okay. The first month was terrible. I could not sleep. I could not eat. I worked long days just to keep my mind busy. I kept replaying it over and over, like my brain thought if it played the scene enough times, I would find a version where it did not happen. But time does what time always does. Around month 3, I started to feel human again. I joined a gym. I started running. I picked up woodworking just to keep my hands busy. Cutting, sanding, building something straight and clean, something that followed rules and made sense. By month 6, I was not happy, but I was stable. I had a routine. Work, gym, dinner, something on TV, sleep, no drama, no lectures about forgiveness, no pressure to smile at people who betrayed me. Just a quiet life built piece by piece. Then last Tuesday, I got home around 7. I heated leftovers, poured a drink, sat down to watch the game. Then someone knocked on my door. I was not expecting anyone. I did not order food. I checked the peephole. Iris was standing in the hallway. She was pregnant. Not a little. 5 or 6 months, easily. She was crying, but the crying looked controlled. Like she knew exactly how she wanted to appear. Hair pulled back. No heavy makeup. The kind of look that makes tears seem more believable that I did not open the door right away. I just watched through the peephole while she wiped her face. She knocked again and said she knew I was home because she saw my car. I opened the door, but I did not invite her in. I stayed in the doorway. I crossed my arms. I asked what she wanted. Her lip trembled. She looked scared. She looked fragile. Maybe she practiced that face. Maybe she did not. I did not care. She asked if she could come in for a minute. I said no. She blinked like she did not expect that. She said she needed to talk, and it was important. I told her to talk right there. She glanced down the hallway, like she was worried the neighbors would hear, like she wanted privacy, like she wanted me to feel guilty for not giving it. I did not move. So she took a breath, the kind of breath people take before a speech they have rehearsed. She said she made a terrible mistake. She said what happened with Preston was not what I thought. I waited. She said Preston took advantage of her. She said she was vulnerable. She said he manipulated the situation. She said she never wanted to hurt me. I kept waiting, and she put a hand on her stomach and said the baby was mine. She said it happened before everything fell apart. She said she was due in 3 months and did not know what to do. She said Preston would not help. She said my parents would not talk to her. She said she was alone and scared. She said she needed me. The tears came right on time. And if I had not spent 6 months replaying her lies, if I had not rebuilt my life in silence and clarity, I might have believed her. But I did not. I told her to prove it. She looked up confused. I told her to prove the baby was mine. She said she already told me. I told her she told me a story. I wanted proof. I said DNA test. Her eyes widened, and she asked if I did not trust her. I said no. One word. Clean and final. She tried a new angle and said tests are expensive. She implied she could not afford it. I told her I would pay. I told her it would be a prenatal paternity test, non-invasive, done with blood and a cheek swab. I told her those tests can be done early, and she was already far enough along. She said that was not the point. I told her the point was she showed up at my door pregnant after 6 months and expected me to accept her word after what she did. She flinched when I mentioned my brother. For 1 second, I saw anger flash in her face. Then the sad mask came back. She said it was ridiculous, and she came because she thought I was a good person who would do the right thing. I told her the right thing was a DNA test. She asked what would happen if she refused. I told her she would leave, and we would never speak again. She stared at me. I could see her calculating. Her tears were not working. Her victim story was not working. So she tried bargaining. She asked if we could at least talk inside like adults. I said no. She asked why I was being cold. I told her because 6 months ago, she destroyed my life, and she did not get warmth from me anymore. I told her she would get exactly what she was asking for, one thing only. A DNA test to confirm paternity. That is it. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Then I pulled a business card from my wallet. I had been carrying it for weeks, because I had already researched this. Some part of me always suspected she might try something. The card was for a clinic downtown that did prenatal paternity testing. I told her to call them, schedule it, and text me the date and time. I told her I would meet her there. I also told her not to show up at my apartment again. I held out the card. She stared at it like it was poison. I told her to take it or leave it. She snatched it from my hand and said I would regret this. I told her maybe, but I would regret it on my terms. Then I closed the door and locked it. I listened to her stand there for a moment. Then her footsteps faded away. I went back to my couch. My hands were steady. My pulse was normal. No panic. No doubt. If the baby was mine, I would handle it. Support, custody, legal agreements. Clean. Professional. No relationship with her. No forgiveness story. No second chances. Just responsibility and boundaries. But if the baby was not mine, and my gut said it was not, then this was about to become something else. That night, I started gathering documentation. I saved the door camera footage. I backed it up to the cloud. I took screenshots of her messages. I started researching lawyers and harassment laws. I started building a file, because I could feel where this was going. Then I opened my email and saw a message from Iris. Subject line, said appointment scheduled. She had booked the test for the next Tuesday. Address, time, all very neat. But in the email details, the part most people never read, I saw something strange. There was a CC line. Preston's old email address. It disappeared quickly, like someone tried to recall it. But my email client had already cached it. I stared at the screen. They were coordinating. They were doing this together. I did not confront her. I did not call anyone. I did not show my hand. I saved the email. I saved the metadata. I backed it up in multiple places. Then I went deeper. I dug through old texts. I found conversations from before the breakup. I found Preston asking me for money around the same time I caught them. I found Iris talking about wedding timelines. I found complaints and excuses and little hints that made it clear this was not a single moment of weakness. I organized everything by date. I built a timeline. By 3 a.m., I had a folder on my laptop labeled evidence. I did not know exactly what I would need it for, but I knew I would need it. The next week felt long. Not because I was nervous. Because staying calm while you are that angry takes effort. Tuesday came. I met Iris at the clinic. She tried small talk in the waiting room. She asked how I had been. She asked how work was going. I ignored her and answered emails on my phone. The technician called us back. Professional, polite, asked the standard questions. Medical history, dates, paperwork. Iris answered most of it. I gave my DNA sample, a simple cheek swab, and confirmed my contact information. The technician said results would be ready in about a week, sent by email, and a printed copy could also be mailed. I said email was fine. Iris looked at me like she expected me to want something official to hold in my hands. I did not need paper. I needed truth. As we left, she tried again. She asked if we could get coffee to talk about what happens next. I told her what happens next is we wait for results. I told her if the test says, I am the father, my lawyer will contact her about arrangements. I told her if it does not, she will never contact me again. She looked surprised when I said lawyer. She said it did not have to be like that. I told her yes it did. Then I walked to my car and left. The week dragged. I worked. I went to the gym. I ran errands. I followed my routine. But every morning I checked my email first. Nothing. Monday nothing. Tuesday nothing. Wednesday nothing. Thursday nothing. Friday nothing. Then Saturday morning at 6:39 a.m., my phone buzzed. Email from the clinic. Subject line said paternity test results. I sat up in bed and opened it. I read the first line. Then I read it again. Then again. Probability of paternity 0%. Not low. Not unlikely. 0. I put the phone down and stared at the ceiling. Then I smiled. Not relief. Not yet. First came vindication. That deep, steady feeling of being completely right. From the moment she showed up, I knew it. Seeing Preston's email on the appointment message confirmed it. Now I had proof. Then came rage. Not loud rage. Cold rage. Focused rage. They tried to trap me. They tried to push their mess onto me because I was stable, because I had a job, because I had a clean record, because I was the responsible one. Iris got pregnant, probably by Preston, maybe by someone else, and when reality hit, they decided I should be the solution. They thought I would accept it, because that is what good men do. They thought I would save them from consequences. So I made coffee, opened my laptop, and started building a plan. Not a letter full of feelings. A plan. I made 3 columns. Who needs to know? What they need to see. When they need to see it. My parents. My sisters. Preston. Extended family. Anyone who told me I was overreacting. Anyone who asked me to forgive. Anyone who chose comfort over truth. I created a clean PDF. Page 1 was the DNA result showing 0%. Page 2 was a timeline with dates and facts. Day I discovered the betrayal. Christmas Day when they defended him. The day I cut contact. The day Iris came to my door. The day we did the test. The day the results arrived. Page 3 included screenshots that showed coordination and intent. Not drama. Not insults, just receipts. Page 4 was one short paragraph. 6 months ago, I cut contact with my family after discovering Preston and Iris together in my home. Last week, Iris appeared at my door, claiming I was the father of her child. I requested a DNA test. The results are attached. Do not contact me. That was it. Facts only. I opened a new email. I added every address I still had. I attached the PDF. I wrote a subject line that made it clear I was not asking permission for anything. Then I hovered over send. One click would burn everything. I thought about birthdays and holidays and family dinners. Then I thought about Preston in my bed. I thought about my parents defending him. I thought about my sisters calling me selfish for being hurt. I thought about Iris standing at my door, pregnant, lying to my face. Then I clicked send. Replies came fast. My younger sister asked what the hell it was. My older sister asked if I was serious. My phone started ringing. Mother. Declined. Father. Declined. Sisters. Declined. Someone forwarded the email to the family group chat I muted months earlier. I unmuted it just to watch the collapse. Messages poured in. People panicking, denying, demanding explanations. My mother claimed it had to be fake. My father tried to calm everyone down and said we needed to talk as a family. I typed one message into the chat. There is no family. Not anymore. Then I muted it again. An unknown number called. I answered. It was a woman crying. It was Whitney, Preston's girlfriend. She asked if Iris was pregnant with Preston's baby. I told her the DNA test proved the baby was not mine. I told her she could do the math. She said Preston told her nothing happened after that one time. I told her it was not one time, and he did not end it. She went quiet, then called herself stupid. I told her she trusted someone she should not have. That is not stupidity. That is betrayal. She asked if I knew. I told her not until recently. I told her she deserved the truth. Then I ended the call, because I did not have the energy to hold her pain too. Preston texted me a few minutes later. He called me names and said I ruined everything. I stared at it for a moment. Then I replied that I ruined nothing. He did it. I just refused to carry it. Then I blocked him. More calls came. More texts came. I declined and blocked. Then someone started pounding on my door. I checked the peephole. My parents were there. My mother looked like she had been crying. My father looked furious. I did not open the door. They begged. They said they did not know. They said they could fix this. I spoke through the door and told them they knew enough. They defended him at Christmas. That was their choice. I told them to leave. They knocked for several minutes. I ignored them until they finally walked away. By the end of the night, I had dozens of missed calls and more texts than I bothered count. Some people supported me. Some called me cruel. Some preached about forgiveness. I blocked every number that defended Preston. I kept the supportive ones unread. Around midnight, Whitney texted again. She said she broke up with him. She said he admitted everything. She said he told her the baby was probably his, but he was not ready to deal with it. So Iris came to me instead. Backup plan. That is what he called me. Whitney said she could not believe she did not see it. She apologized to me. I did not reply, but I did not block her either. Then I sat in my apartment and realized something important. I burned the bridges, but I was still living close enough for them to keep showing up. They knew where I worked. They knew where I lived. I had cut them off, but I was still standing on their side of the river. So I opened my laptop and found an email from my boss I had ignored earlier. It was a promotion offer in another city. More money, more responsibility, relocation required. I had been putting it off because I was not ready to change everything again. Now I was. I replied and accepted. Then I gave notice on my apartment. Month to month made it easy. I went and got a new phone and a new number. I gave that number to exactly 5 places. Work, HR, my bank, my landlord, my insurance. That is it. Everyone else stayed cut off. I did not announce it. I did not post it. I simply disappeared. For the next week, my old phone kept buzzing on my counter. I checked it once a day, only to see if anything serious was happening. I did not answer. I did not listen to voicemails. I did not read long messages. Whitney sent 2 updates. She said Preston tried to deny the baby was his, so Iris agreed to a paternity test for him too. The result came back, almost full certainty. He was the father. Now he was on the hook. Whitney said Iris was talking to a lawyer about child support. Then she said Preston was spiraling, missing work, losing his job, probably moving back in with my parents because he could not afford rent. I did not respond, but I saved it. Not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted to know the truth. My mother tried contacting my workplace. The receptionist told her I did not work there anymore. That was true, in a way. My mother panicked in the family group chat, begging people to help her reach me. For the first time, it seemed to hit them. I was not cooling off. I was gone. My younger sister messaged me online and said I was being extreme and I could not erase family. I logged in once, read it, and deactivated the account. No debates. No explanations. No access. I spent the next days packing like a machine. No nostalgia. No maybe. Anything tied to my old life, I sold, donated, or tossed. Furniture, they helped me move. Gifts from Iris. Photos with my family. Out. I kept only what I needed. Clothes. Documents. Laptop. Basic tools. Everything I owned fit in my car. The last night in my apartment, I ordered takeout and ate it on the floor. The place echoed. Empty walls. Clean floors. Like I had never lived there. And I felt lighter. Not joyful, not yet, but lighter. Moving morning, I loaded the car and took one last look. Then I locked the door, dropped the keys, got in, and started the engine. My new phone buzzed. Unknown number. I should have ignored it. But I answered. It was my father. He sounded broken. He asked me not to hang up. He said my mother was devastated. He said Preston was not doing well. He said the family was falling apart. He begged for one conversation. I sat there with the car running and my life packed behind me. I told him he had 2 minutes. He started by saying he understood I was angry, but they were trying to keep the family together. He called what Preston did a mistake again. I cut him off. I told him he was not calling because he understood. He was calling because he hated consequences. I told him they were not sorry they defended Preston. They were sorry it became public and uncomfortable. He said that was not fair. I told him none of this was fair. I told him I came home and found betrayal in my own bed. I told him I showed up at Christmas hoping for support and got blamed instead. I told him Iris showed up pregnant, trying to trap me with a child that was not mine. I told him they chose Preston at every opportunity. He said they were trying to protect both of us. I told him no, they protected him. I told him I needed my family to have my back, and they did not. Then he asked what now? Was I really going to disappear and never speak to them again? I told him yes. He said that was not who I was. I told him he did not know who I was anymore. Then I said one last thing. Lose this number. Do not look for me. Do not ask around. I am gone. Then I hung up, blocked the number, turned off my phone, and drove. The drive was long. 2 gas stops. Coffee. A short sleep when I got too tired. But somewhere along the way, I realized I was smiling. Not because I won. Not because I got revenge. But because I was finally moving towards something, not just running away. I started a new job. New city. New routine. New faces. People were friendly, but not invasive. No one asked me to forgive anyone. No one demanded I explain my past. I was just a new guy who worked hard and kept his head down. Over time, I built a new life with clean boundaries. I met people through the gym. I went on a date eventually. I told the broad truth when it mattered. Ex cheated with my brother. Family defended him. I left. No drama. Just facts. And the strangest part is how quiet my mind became. No anger. No obsession. Just indifference. They became strangers. Their problems stopped reaching me. They wanted reconciliation. I gave them consequences. That DNA test did not just prove the baby was not mine. It proved walking away was the right choice all along. And I have not looked back.